Okay, all set. Thank you, Frida. We really appreciate you being here. Um, we will be recording tonight's training in English and in Spanish, so we'll be able to separately upload both languages. There'll be separate recordings. So that will be uploaded onto YouTube, where you can also request translation and into other languages. And it will also be linked to our website. So after we do that posting, probably by tomorrow, we will send out an email so you can all have the link to that, and feel free to share it. Okay, I think we are ready to start. So thank you all for joining us tonight. It's great to see you all. Thank you for your patience as we all got into the same room together. We wanted to make sure we had a room big enough for us all and nobody would be left out in the cold tonight. So good evening and welcome to our training on Ticket to Work and Customized Employment. In October, we offered a series of 4 trainings that focused on a variety of topics related to employment services through the regional center system and through Department of Rehabilitation. Those trainings are all recorded. Again, they're posted on the Sacramento page of the SCDD's website. I did forward that information out in emails to those who registered for tonight. You're welcome to go back and watch any of those. They really give a background and foundation for a lot of the supports. And tonight builds on those 4 trainings where we'll be talking about Ticket to Work and Customized Employment. We know that about 15% of people with developmental disabilities are employed, and many more would like to be employed in California. And one of the biggest concerns is how it might affect someone's benefits. And so that's why tonight's topic is so important. So we appreciate you being here. So tonight's training is a collaborative of 3 of our regional offices. Mary Ellen Stives is the manager of the San Diego Regional Office for the State Council, and Lisa Hooks will be joining us in a moment. She's at the other link, reminding people to come over here. She'll be joining us, and she's the manager of our North Bay office of the State Council, and I'm the manager of the Sacramento Regional Office, which covers Sacramento and the 9 surrounding counties. So again, welcome to tonight's training. The State Council is established by state and federal law as an independent state agency to look at how we can improve access to services for people with developmental disabilities throughout California. There are state councils in every state and territory, so it's not a unique agency. But in California, we're a little different. We have 12 offices around the state and a few staff in each of those offices who reach out into the community to see what the needs are, see how things are going, see if improvements need to be made in how we access services. We do a lot of trainings for self-advocates, adults and children with developmental disabilities and their family members and professionals and support staff. So this is one of our trainings to help everyone understand how the system works and how we can have better access to the services that are out there. So feel free to use the chat to post any questions. We will take time to answer those questions. It'll be up to Pam to decide when she wants to stop and answer those questions. So she might not stop all the time, every time you have a question. Mary Ellen and Lisa will be monitoring those questions, so please feel free to put them there. I will be launching 3 different polls through our evening. So a box will pop up in the middle of the screen and there'll be a question, and I will read the question and the answers, and you can select which one best answers the question for you. Then we'll launch the results for each of those. That'll help Pam to know kind of where you are in terms of your understanding with the topic that she's asking about. And at the very end, we'll launch a final poll that will ask about your satisfaction with this evening's training. So thank you for being ready to click the button and answer those questions. And at any time, after this training, please feel free to give us feedback and input. We always like to know what you liked best, what you didn't like, what didn't work well, what trainings you want in the future, what you want to learn more about. So thank you. I think we've covered the housekeeping aspects of tonight. And yeah, please keep yourself on mute except when we're having question and answer, but we'd love to see your videos. So please feel free to keep your video on so we can see your faces and not just black boxes with your names. Makes it easier for the presenter to know real people and be able to see your faces. So thank you for that. So tonight we are very fortunate to have Pam Haney with Progressive Employment Concepts. She is an employment developer, and she's also a community work incentives counselor, and brings a wealth of knowledge and experience working with people with developmental disabilities and helping them to seek employment, maintain their employment, and increase their employment. And that's a little bit about what we're going to talk about tonight. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Pam. Thanks again for your time and being here tonight.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Can everybody hear me? Thumbs up if you can. Excellent. Hi, nice to see you all. I can see about 25 of you. Thank you for coming tonight. So the title of this training is Work More, Earn More, and I mean it, right? So if you take nothing else away from this training at all, I want you to, at the very least, hold dear in your heart the message that people with any type of disability and any type of support need can work, and they can work substantially. They can work more than 2-hour shifts. They can work enough to support themselves and earn a living and pay their rent and have good quality of life. One of the things that I am very, very, very passionate about, and I hope you all become so if you aren't already, is social relationships and social connections. We find the research indicates that strong social connections are, sorry team, that's my cat. Strong social connections are one of the single greatest predictors of life expectancy, more so than smoking. And the vast majority of us meet our lifelong friends either at work or in school. Having a work identity helps you increase your sense of self-worth. It helps you increase your social connections. It helps you increase your quality of life. You have the ability to go out for dinner if you would like, or to go to a movie. So many positives come with working. And so it's really, really important that we, as professionals, and then also as recipients of services, understand what we're looking for and how to ask for what we need, so that we have the ability to get our needs met and go and get to work. So today we are going to, I'm so sorry, you guys, my cat is very insistent right when we get started. So we're going to break this up into 3 sections, and I've got 3 guest speakers to talk to you today. We're going to talk a little bit about customized employment first, and how to ask for services from your regional center or sometimes Department of Rehab. You know, you can't utilize Ticket to Work services, right? You can't take advantage of work services unless you have some support set up. We're going to talk a little bit about Social Security benefits. There's 2 kinds, SSI and Title II benefits. Really important to have some information there squared away so that you are prepared to begin earning some dollar bills. And then lastly, we're going to talk about Ticket to Work services. So I work with Progressive Employment Concepts. We are located in the greater Sacramento area of California. We are a vendor of Alta California Regional Center. We also do some work with Department of Rehab. And then we are also authorized to provide Ticket to Work services through American Dream Employment Network, which is an administrative employment network, and it makes it a little easier for us to deal with Social Security. So without further ado, I'm going to ask that Sonia launch the poll. It's just asking you to rate your comfort level with the subject of customized employment specifically, just so I can get a baseline of where you guys are at.
Pam, Sonia had to step away for a minute to figure out the telephone. So real quick, someone asked, is Title II SSDI?
SSDI is a Title II benefit. It is not the only Title II benefit, but yes.
Thank you.
Title II is anything that's based on a work record. So it could be SSDI based on your own, or it could be child disability benefit based on a parent's, or it could be a survivor's benefit based on a spouse's work record.
Thank you.
Do we have the ability to launch the poll?
I'm trying to make, there we go.
Okay.
Had to make Sonia a host again.
Okay, now I can see the poll. Sorry, we forgot to find the phone number for so people were trying to call in and weren't able to.
Okay.
I am still here and I will launch the poll. We're going to start with customized employment, Pam.
Yes, please.
Got it. Here it comes. And I will read the options. So rate your knowledge of customized employment. The first option is I could teach a class on it. The second option is I think I could figure out what I need to know. And the third is I've heard the term, but that's about it. And the fourth option is I am lost. Please explain it to me. Thank you for all of you who are working hard to answer. And just in case you have any friends who are trying to get into the call and can't find, remember we are recording it, so it will be available afterwards. Okay, we'll just wait about one more second. We've got a lot of answers. Okay, I'm gonna end the polling and share the results.
Excellent. So we have a few people who could teach a class on it. Thank you for coming to my class, team. I love having you here. The vast majority of you are, it looks like we've got about 54% are, or 52%, I'm terrible at math, are either I've heard the term, but that's about it, or I'm lost. So welcome. Let's talk a little bit about customized employment. We can take the poll away whenever we're ready. So customized employment, many of you might have heard the term supported employment before. That term's been around for a while, kind of came about in the 80s. And it also is the name of a couple service codes that the regional center supports. So customized employment, it's a little bit of a newer method, and it really is geared toward helping people who have more substantial support needs find really substantial employment, right? Gainful employment, employment that's going to pay for their living expenses, because that's ultimately the goal of work, right? The main thing that makes customized employment different from other methods of employment development is it leaves the job description for last. So the vast majority of employment development that's out there in the world, you look at a job description and you see whether or not you can fit into that job description. And then if you can, you apply for the job. And if you can't, you try and see if you can do less of the job that somebody else thought of, right? Customized employment values relationships over all else. So the very first thing you are doing is you are utilizing the relationships that you already have, right? So customized employment should be a really collaborative process. You have a job seeker with a disability, maybe they go to church, they have family, they have friends, it's one of those, Aunt Betty knows somebody from church whose cousin's sister-in-law owns a nail salon that would be perfect for Lucy to work at, right? Let's see if we can make friends with Aunt Betty's friends. And then from that foundation of care and respect and friendship, we can engage in a negotiation about, okay, well, what is going to be beneficial to you? Maybe it is incredibly useful to have somebody who is marrying all of the nail polishes at said nail salon, right? Because if you leave it empty for too long, then you waste a lot of nail polish because it dries up. So boy, howdy, would it be so helpful for Lucy to come in and put all of the Kiss Me Reds into one bottle so that it is, not drying out in that bottle, right? That's just one example. But relationships is the key. You can imagine that if you're friends with somebody prior to trying to have this conversation about getting a job, you have a relationship. They know that you care about them. They know that you care about their business. They know that you want them to be profitable. And also, they care about you. They care about your success in life. They want you to have what you need. They want to help you out. That's a positive, right? You can imagine that it then becomes much easier to engage in this kind of negotiation. We like to call it win-win, right? Where everybody's kind of getting what they need and coming to the table and talking about, how can we make this work? How can we make this work for this one individual job seeker? So that's what the process of discovery is for. Some of you might have heard that. It is a 5-stage process that begins in somebody's home with their family, getting to know their social capital, right? Getting to know your people. And from getting to know your people, we can get to know a little bit about you, and we can test out some of your skills and your interests and your learning styles. And then we can take those learning styles and we can take your people and we can get introductions to more people until we find a good match. And that's really the core of how that works. And it works for all ability levels, all support need styles. Now, some of you might be thinking, I don't have a lot of social capital. I don't know very many people. Maybe you've lived in a group home for a long time. Maybe your family's not super involved. Maybe you haven't had a lot of opportunity to try new things and you just don't know very many people. Now that's okay. Customized employment can definitely still be for you, but you take a different route, but it's still based on relationships. So in those circumstances, the first thing you're doing in any employment development plan is making friends. That's it. You go, you make friends. Now it's making friends with a purpose, right? Because we're not just willy-nilly going out and saying hi to people. I always say social capital. The operative word there is capital, right? It spends like money. Capital is something that if you put out into the world, you get a product back, right? Social capital, think about who helps you move. Now, if you have a friend who can't lift more than 10 pounds and does not have a truck, they might be your best friend in the world. Are they social capital when you need a move? Probably not, right? If they had a truck, they would be. If they could help you lift stuff, they would be. So thinking about that, right? But all things are relationship based. Either we're helping you organize the social capital that you have currently in order to help you get a job, or we're helping you build some social capital preliminarily and using that to help you get a job. All relationship based. So how do you get this service, right? I know in my area, it's not super common yet. I wish it was. I would love for it to be. How do you get it? Well, you have to know some people who know how to do it, right? You got to find agencies that know how to do it. One of the things is talking to the regional center, right? So it's really, really important. Oftentimes I hear this from a lot of families. They say, I want a job, and the regional center says supported employment. Great, cool. Supported employment can apply to a number of different services and can apply to service codes. But what you need is somebody who specializes in customized employment. Well, maybe the regional center says, well, customized employment doesn't fit a service code, right? Tailored day service and self-determination, I think, are great places to begin conversations with your service coordinator about getting this service. So you want an agency that knows what they're doing in terms of customized employment. When you interview agencies that your regional center refers you to, you want to talk to them about customized employment. You want to talk to them about social capital. You want to talk to them about whether they're doing a placement model or a customized model. Placement models are where the agency has relationships with businesses, and the business says, I need 3 people to wash my windows. Cool, I've got 3 people, I have placed them with you. Customized employment is just only this one person. I'm focusing on this one person. I'm helping them make relationships. I'm helping that one individual person get a job that fits them. So the agency needs to know about that. Then the regional center needs to know how to pay for it, right? I will tell you this, some supported employment can be done in a group setting, right? Customized employment cannot. Customized employment is a really intensive, individualized kind of service. And so a group placement supported employment type situation, that is not going to yield the results. So you got to make sure that you're talking to your service coordinator about one-on-one services. The other thing is your traditional day program service. So sometimes people are really looking for that kind of traditional 30 hours per week, 8 to 2 schedule. And if that's your bag, that's your bag. I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, but you're probably not going to get the best results for customized employment, because imagine Aunt Betty's friend Lucy, she's only available at 7 p.m. She's got to run the nail salon, right? When are we going to go have coffee with Lucy to talk to her about all the cool things she's doing? We're going to go at 7 p.m., right? With customized employment model, we're going to people when there's people around. And so that level of flexibility and that level of teamwork and cooperation, that is paramount to getting good customized employment results. Relationships, flexibility, intensive one-on-one support. So we find that tailored day services meets that need for most people. Tailored day services is a service code done by the regional centers. It's one-on-one only. It typically comes with pretty low hours. Maybe our purchase is 35 hours a month. I've heard of some people that have up to 50. But the nature of it, with it being one-on-one and flexible, works really well for this process. The other thing that I am so excited about, and I know everybody at SCDD is also, is self-determination, you guys. Self-determination. I hope that a lot of you are familiar with self-determination already, but it's been in a pilot program for a little while. It's going to come online for the greater population this summer. And it is a mechanism where the budget and what the needs are really, all of the control is placed in the hands of the person receiving services, right? So if you say, I need customized employment services, I need it to be one-on-one, but I need more than what Tailored Day is provided by my local program, but I'm really happy with them, then you can do that, right? You can negotiate that on your own and with your independent facilitator. So I hope that some of you guys are attending some of the, Disability Voices United webinars on self-determination and things of that nature. But it is a game changer for how to get these higher quality services funded. Our regional center does also have a limited discovery assessment service code. And it's a short 8-week deal where we can do the discovery assessment process. That works great for folks who have social capital. We're uncovering it. We're discovering their social capital. We've got it going. For folks that maybe need a little longer to build it, that might not be the best service code to enter into. It might take you 12 to 15 weeks instead of 8, if that makes sense. But that is a very cursory bird's eye view of what customized employment is and how it can be possible. I would like to tell you one story about one of my favorite people. She is just a little nugget. She is about 4 foot 6 inches tall. She is amazing. Most of her communication comes via show tunes. She will just belt out any song from Wicked. She's not so much into full sentence verbal communication, but boy howdy, can she carry a tune. She will dance and sing, and she is just loving life all the time. She is somebody who typically the system, right, somebody like from DOR or something like that, would assess as maybe unable to work at competitive wage. We went through this process with her. We helped her make friends. We helped her build positive relationships. We also helped do some skills assessments. We call them discovery activities, where we're putting people in real world situations and helping them figure out what it is they're good at, and also figure out what kinds of environments she might thrive in. Now, you can imagine somebody who doesn't really speak a lot verbally, but does communicate very expressively via singing of show tunes, would do very well in a theater setting. And she does, or she did before COVID. But yeah, we were able to get her a union job, making above minimum wage, taking care of the costumes. She's able to steam them, and she was learning how to do some mending and sewing. Super cool stuff, right? For somebody who historically throughout her life was told she was not ever going to be capable of working competitively. So I would strongly encourage anyone who is considering work to talk to their regional center and local providers about customized employment services. I know that Department of Rehab is also launching a service that they're calling Discovery and Customized Employment. It's time limited. Again, really great for people who they have some social capital, they've got some people, and they need help figuring out how to organize it and put their skills to use. And with the negotiation, amazing service. And so if maybe you have been through DOR in the past and they didn't really work for you, it's worth talking to them again if your local branch office has started offering that service. Right now, I'm going to ask, has Chris joined the call yet? Chris is one of my guest speakers, but he is somebody who actually hired a person with a disability. And I know he is a business owner and he was closing up his shop today. So if he's not in, that's okay. I'll move forward.
I'm here.
Yay! Hi, Chris.
Can you hear me? Hi, Pam. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, thank you. Just driving home.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. He's driving home from work. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris. Can I give you just a quick intro and then I'll hand it off to you?
Sure, please.
Okay, so Chris Baccarano is one of my favorite humans. You'll probably hear me say that a few times today. But he owns Lucky Penny Dog Grooming. It's in Antelope. It's on Alberta. If anybody lives in the Sacramento area, they do great work. But he hired a person with a disability. He hired an individual through the customized employment process. He had no idea what the customized employment process was, right? This is one of those build social capital situations. And I asked him to come here and talk a little bit just about his experience and how it's been for him employing someone through this process. So Chris, please take it away.
Sure. I think what's very interesting for me is to hear you talk about social capital. That's not, I guess I definitely understand the term, but it's not something that I would use in my vernacular very often, but it makes complete sense that, in my particular situation, or I guess in our particular situation, it's been really interesting to work with someone who, I guess, potentially, I don't know if I would categorize, may I use his name? I'm sorry. I'm just wanting to make sure, like, confidentiality. May I speak about who I work with?
You can use his name. He has said he's okay with it.
Deal. Well, so Michael's not someone I guess I would really necessarily think doesn't have social capital. In fact, I think his social capital is what was for me, one of the things that really made this an interesting endeavor, because the support that one, Pam was able to guide me towards in seeing who his family is and seeing who people that he's worked with in the past and friends were always spoke so like highly of Michael, in the sense that his personality has come out to be exactly as you said. He is an extremely loyal, caring person with a lot of potential. And to say that, I don't want to begin. I understand this is a very unique particular situation that we've had that has come with its own set of issues, but it's also come with its own set of rewards that I think are very particular to our situation, right? The way that we have grown ourselves within the company. I was very lucky to have my business as a first-time business owner be in a place where I felt very comfortable. And I guess to start over a little bit, to speak to the social capital, Pam and Michael would come over, and as Michael likes to say, bribe, but I like to say entice, me by showing me how much Michael was really into the business that I work in. Michael's really into dogs, and he has a passion for them that I think is very foundational for what I do. And to have you guys come in and explain to me what, as a business owner and as a person, I could facilitate was really cool. But what wasn't realized until the amount of time that we've spent together was that I personally have learned and grown a lot from our experience, and it's been a really cool ride, and one that I don't think I would have taken the gamble to commit to if it wasn't for the support that Michael has, not because of Michael in particular, but because it's something that I knew so little about that conventional society, I think, guides us towards thinking that there is one certain way or there's one certain standard that allows for a person to be included in what we do on a daily basis. And so I've had peripheral experiences with trying to experience my business and share it with other people. That it's something that I think the knowledge behind what you do, Pam, particularly allowed me to feel comfortable in taking a gamble on something that as a person I feel is really important to do, but as a business owner can be really scary, especially if someone who's starting out, because everything is so tied to the moments that are pivotal, whether they seem so or not at the time. So I think I went a long way of basically saying that the support and this program and the way that it's structured, the support that is given towards it has been done so in a really, really particularly helpful way. It's not just an idea, I guess. It's something that through every step of the road, there has not been a question I have not gotten an answer to, if it was sometimes right away, but if it wasn't right away, I got an answer to it through actual investigation to see what works and what doesn't work. And that's been really, really pivotal for the growth of my business. I know my business particularly would probably be in a different place if it wasn't for one, having you guys come into my shop and talk to me, but also if I hadn't had all of the particular learning experiences that I've had with Michael, and that's not to say that I think, you know, I think Michael, sometimes I forget that, you know, Michael is part of this program because we get along so well, and there are so many areas where his personality and my personality work really well. And I think, you know, I have a particular aspect of my business of it being like a shop, and it's very kind of carefree, and I've really tried to cultivate something that is really a safe place for everyone that works there. But so maybe I guess this experience is, maybe it's particular to our relationship in general. I don't know, but I do know that I definitely would have had a hard time making a gamble just on judging a book by its cover regarding like what society kind of tells us is gonna make you money and make you not, you know, make you succeed, make you fail. And I think you guys have done like a really, really good job setting up the structure to this program, because it is very important. I think there's a lot of room in a lot of areas where we can kind of kick conventional norms out of the area and say like we have the ability to all work for ourselves and feel good about what we do on a daily basis. And I think like everyone can benefit from the gratification of a job well done. So I don't know if I don't know if I spoke too much. I'm sorry if I did, but
you did great, Chris. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Can I ask you one question? I know the answer to it, but can I ask you one question to prompt you to talk to the crowd?
Sure, of course.
Did we ask you if we could work there the first time we came in?
No, not at all. Actually, I had my my alert up when you guys came in, because I had been really like you know, I don't know, when you start a business, and this has just been my experience, but it seems like everyone comes out of the woodwork to offer you some sort of a way to give you a success in some way. So I definitely had like my my alert up with like, what do you guys want, you know? And to answer your question, no, you guys didn't just come up and be like, you know, hey, like you wouldn't happen to want a job, or you wouldn't happen to have a job for us or anything. And that made the biggest difference for me, because frankly, if that had been the case, like I just, in the beginning, I didn't have the capital to support anyone other than myself. So that was, I guess, well played.
Yeah, exactly. So would you say that by the time, I think it was about 6 weeks from when we met you to when I was talking to your mom about how to hire Michael, and we used the paid internship funds, which, good segue there. I want to make sure I mention that paid internship funds can be used to reimburse wages, which can really take a lot of the pressure off of that risk that business owners feel. But Chris, would you say that by the time we were starting to talk about jobs, you felt pretty confident that Michael and I cared about you and your business, and we wanted genuinely for you to succeed as a friend?
Yeah, definitely. You know, I think what did it for me was the fact that it wasn't someone coming to just want to take. Like I felt an actual, like I could tell that if I was selling widgets, I don't think I would have had Michael wanting to work for me to make and sell widgets. But the fact that I was grooming dogs, and his love of dogs was something that he was wanting to invest himself into. And for me, that was really important, because I wanted a team, and I didn't want just a body there. So for sure, I think that was, in fact, the most like important part, that it wasn't just a take situation, which is why I shy away from like the bribery, right, of it, because it's not, I know, and I understand how like it may feel to have like an offer such as what you guys offer, which are funds that can be allocated to particular aspects of your business, but for me, it felt like a real investment. It felt like not just an investment monetarily, but it felt like an investment in a person who would also invest in me as a person. And you know, if we have to work every day for to make our living, I would like to do it in the most happy and the most relaxed way and the most like rewarding way. And I felt that from Michael. I felt that from you guys. I felt like that was the goal that you guys wanted, was to find a place where we could be safe and sit in and enjoy our time over here.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Chris. I really appreciate you coming.
Of course, it's a pleasure.
Okay, round of applause for Chris, you guys. He's pretty awesome. I think he demonstrated beautifully, right, how this process can work. And we're not asking for charity from businesses, right? We're making real relationships and real friendships, and that's turning into real symbiotic give and take relationships where everybody's happy. I will also say Michael has now worked at Lucky Penny for over 2 years. This has been a pretty lasting relationship. Super cool. So with that, I'm gonna just ask if there's been a lot of kind of similar questions about customized employment in the chat. Maybe I can take just a couple minutes to answer before I move on to the next thing.
Go ahead, Mary Ellen.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot about the paid internship program.
Yeah.
And
So
I believe that's what you're covering next, correct?
I'm covering Social Security stuff next. The paid internship falls into this. So the paid internship.
People are, you know, interested in the $10,400 a year, which is the max that someone can earn during a paid internship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So just briefly, I'll let you know how we do it. The paid internship program is funded through your regional center, and we use it. I don't think everybody uses it in the same way. Technically, the vendor of the regional center gets the money from the regional center, right, and can distribute it appropriately, you know, within the scope of the internship program funds. But the way that we use it, which I think is maybe the most productive way that I've seen, is as a wage reimbursement program. So every regional center client is entitled to up to $10,400 for up to 1 year to engage in an internship. And so the way we do it is when someone gets hired, sometimes that money runs out in less time than 1 year. Sometimes there's money left over, depending on how much someone is working and what their wage is. But we take the money from the regional center and reimburse the business completely, payroll tax, whole bit, right? So that the dollar cost for the duration of this time frame to the business is zero. Now, this does a few things. It makes it really low risk for the business owner to take a shot. It also really gives the person with a disability, this new employee, kind of a lot of bargaining chips, right? I can take longer to learn this job. I can take however long I need to learn this job because I'm working for you for free. Like, no, I'm getting paid, but you don't have to pay, right? So it kind of gives you some additional flexibility and leeway. The purpose of it should be that by the time that period is over, we have supported intensely both the service provider who's doing job coaching services and business consultation services. With customized employment, those follow along services, they should be able to fade, but come in and out at any time. So there have been lots of times when Michael was learning something new and I'm back in there the whole shift. I'm right there. Let's figure out how to do this, right? And then come on back again. It should be flexible. Sometimes, you know, I'll be having a conversation with Chris. I had a conversation today. It didn't go well. I don't know why. Is this disability related? What can we do to help Michael? Cool. Maybe I don't even need to talk to Michael. Maybe all I'm doing is giving Chris some communication tips, right? But that's part of that follow along support. At the end of this time period, the reason we do it as a wage reimbursement is because then that person with a disability is that business's employee. They're on their payroll. If nothing happens at all, then they just keep working there and they stop getting reimbursed. Nothing special needs to happen. And it helps that business really take ownership over the training and the, as Chris said, the investment, right? You're making an investment in that employee. So that can be a really, 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 really good tool to help somebody, you know, kind of get up to speed and also try a few things out and carve out a position that really works for themselves and the business that maybe they don't know about day one. Maybe they're not 100% sure. They're like, you know what? I feel like I can help you out. I know I want to work here. I love the environment. I love the subject matter, but I'm going to be honest, it's my first job and I'm not really sure everything that I can do. Great opportunity to use that.
Pam, this is Mary Ellen. I just wanted to let you know in San Diego, they have fiscal management services that are the employer of record. So that is another opportunity for employers to take a chance on someone, because we hear that a lot, that it's sometimes a concern, oh, this person's going to have too many medical issues or they're going to be a liability. So when you take that element out, they're a lot more willing to accept and to really give somebody a chance to have that opportunity to build a resume at least.
Yep. We also have financial management services. I think they can be a great tool. Our agency doesn't typically use them because they charge money, and we don't charge any money for distributing the funds. We just give them. But that is 100% a resource, especially if you are going for self-employment. So the paid internship funds can also pay you for your time while you are starting a new business. And then a financial management service can be the employer of record and pay you.
Pam, I just wanted to interject just for a second. We have some questions about people who were not able to get in the call, or we didn't offer a phone number and so on. Just wanted to remind everyone we are recording it, so we will make it available afterwards. So if anyone has spotty connection, can't hear anything, or just wasn't able to get in, we will be sharing the recording out later. So thank you so much. And lots of good conversation going on in the chat. I want to especially thank Cindy Lay from Alta Regional Center. She's the employment specialist there who's answering some of the questions for us. I encouraged her to go ahead and keep answering them. There is an employment specialist at every regional center throughout the state. So if you're not getting the answers that you need, or you need a little more information, you know, feel free to reach out and ask for the employment specialist, or speak with your service coordinator at your regional center.
Yeah, and those can be offered for a second year as well.
Yes, they can be extended. I will say, so we don't usually extend them. We find, and within the world of customized employment, within a year, we're really hopeful that we have made a pretty solid case that if you are going to be able to do this job, it is time for the employer to go ahead and take that on and make the investment. And I want to encourage everyone to be thinking in terms of, if you're using an internship, using that time to make friends, using that time to make relationships. Who is the person who's going to rat you out when you're late? Who is the person who is going to cover for you when, when you make a mistake? All of those things, those are resources that all of us use in our jobs every single day. And if we have a year where we are really, really paying attention to all of those relationships and doing acts of service, not only on the clock and doing our actual job, but also, if we learn that it's one of our coworkers' birthday, then maybe we can support our client to go ahead and buy them a birthday card, right? Making those relationships so that by the end of that year, they want year round. And they're not saying, can I get another year of free labor? They're saying, you know what? This is my guy. I'm going to hire him.
And there's some confusion too, Pam, in the questions. A lot of people are under the impression you can only get a PIP if you're in an office position, and
Nope.
that is so not the case.
Definitely not true. There are no industry limitations. You can get the PIP. I've supported somebody who did self-employment, launching a business where they were 3D printing assistive devices. I supported somebody working in a dog grooming salon on a PIP. We've supported lots of people in a pretty wide variety of businesses. Yeah. I believe you need to be a client of Ultra Regional Center to have the PIP. Cindy actually almost certainly has the answer to that, because I think you need to be a client of the regional center, in which case you need to either be 18 or 22, depending on your method of exiting the Department of Education. But if you're wrong,
Not just Alta, but we have people from statewide, so it would be any regional center.
And
I'm
DOR.
sorry, did I say Alta? I
Yeah.
meant the regional center. I'm trying to be generic about the regional.
Right.
That's okay. Pam, would you mind if I interject a little bit to answer the question regarding how PIP needs to be in an office setting?
Sure.
Okay, so I think that there has been a lot of misunderstanding and confusion regarding that, because initially Financial Management Services Agency were able to cover for PIPs that is not in an office setting. However, recently there has been a lot of discussion regarding the liability and the general insurance for the FMS to cover PIPs that is not in an office setting. So that was the reason that some of the regional centers have lost some of the FMS agencies that handle the PIP. So that might have been what you have heard, Mary Ellen, because we experienced the same situation at Alta. So just wanted to let you know that, it is a statewide issue with some of the FMS agencies.
But so it's an issue with the Financial Management Service Agency, not with what the PIP can pay for.
Correct. So if the placement, the internship placement is being, if the service provider or the employer is the employer of record, then yes, the PIP can be in any setting, not necessarily an office setting.
Okay. And is there a minimum age for the PIP? You need to be a regional center client, correct, Cindy?
Yes, you have to be a regional center client, and you have to be at least 18. Now, students who are 18 years old and who are still in the school system can also access the paid internship program. However, we still would expect that the school district would work with the regional center and perhaps DOR to provide the services that the students are entitled to under in their IEP.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And then if it's okay, maybe we can move on to the next topic. I want to respect everybody's time. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of time at the end. The rest of the presentation mostly has to do with Social Security, a little bit about benefits, and ticket to work. So without further ado, can we have our next poll?
Yes, here it is. So the question is, rate your knowledge of Social Security benefits, and it's the same options as before. They are, I could teach a class on it. Next option, I think I could figure out what I need to know. Third option, I've heard the term, but that's about it, or the concept. And the last is, I'm lost. Please explain it to me, Pam. So those are our 4 options. Okay, in the interest of time, we are going to count 3, 2, 1. We've got, oh, that's great. 72 people answered. That's amazing. Thank you all for participating. I'm going to end the polling and share the results.
Excellent. So a lot of you say you think you could figure out what you need to know. Excellent. Cool. I am so glad. Part of how you can figure out what you need to know is coming to see a benefits counselor. I am one of those people. So community work incentives counselor is the certification title that is given by Virginia Commonwealth University. They have an agreement with the Social Security Administration to give these types of certifications to members of the community and also WIPA staff, and also staff at Social Security itself. WIPA stands for Work Incentives Planning Assistance, and those are people whose salaries are funded by the regional center to provide help with people understanding their benefits when they're going back to work. So I really just wanted to give some preliminary baseline knowledge about what the Social Security benefits are. I find a lot of people, they kind of have this amorphous, I get disability. And they end up getting some of the rules confused sometimes. And so I want to make sure that we're clear on what they are. So, and all of this is also in that handout that we sent out. But so there's really primarily two kinds. There's SSI, Title 16. It's also known as Title 16 because it is provided for under Title 16 of the Social Security Act, and Title II benefits because those are provided for under Title II of the Social Security Act. SSI is the thing that most people with disabilities who don't have a work history are going to receive. So that is the one where it's based on poverty. You are not allowed to have more than $2,000 in the bank. And as you work, your income goes down. So SSI always comes with Medi-Cal. If you're in another state, it's Medicaid, but in California, it's Medi-Cal because we're fancy here and we like to name stuff special for California. And it's a pretty small amount of money. It just went up to, I think, $972 a month. It's pretty low. Not typically enough money to pay rent in California. And you're not even allowed to have more than $2,000 in the bank. There are some ways around that. I know one person asked about in the question submitted ahead of time about an ABLE account. ABLE is definitely one way. ABLE is a special bank account that people with disabilities can open that shields a lot of their resources from being counted for programs that care about that, like SSI and Medi-Cal and public housing assistance, things like that. Special Needs Trust is another one. Special Needs Trust is a way of shielding the money, except the person with a disability does not get to own that money. It's put in a trust where some professional person technically owns the money because you name a trustee. And so because they don't own the money, it's not counted. But whenever they withdraw money, it is then counted as income. So that's SSI in the briefest possible terms I can put it, right? It's for people in poverty. It's not very much money, and it goes down gradually as you work. The one thing that I want you to take away if you get SSI is there is no amount of money that you can earn that is not profitable. It is always more profitable every day, all day, to work more on SSI. Always, 100% of the time. There's no such thing as screwing yourself over when you're on SSI and you're working too much. And the reason for that is because of that countable income deduction. So when you have SSI only counts a little bit less than half of your income. So for the sake of math, I'm going to do it wrong. Don't yell at me, but I'm just going to briefly illustrate. If you get $1,000 a month in SSI, and then you earn $1,000 a month, SSI is only going to count a little bit less than half of that. So for the sake of quick and easy math, we'll say 500. So yes, your SSI reduces by 500, meaning you only get $500 instead of $1,000, but you also get your whole $1,000 paycheck. So the combined total is still more than what it was with only SSI. Does that make sense? The other thing to know with SSI is that it has the best work incentive on the planet, which is called 1619B status. 1619B means that even if you work so much that you don't get any cash payment from SSI at all, there's no cash money left. It's gone. You work too much. You still get to keep your Medi-Cal. You don't have to sign up for it. It's nothing special. You just get to keep it. You get to keep it forever. It's yours. You keep your Medi-Cal. So long as you still meet the resource limit requirements, which is why things like ABLE matter. But you get to keep your health insurance. You have to make so much money, because even if you make more than the individual threshold, which is about $32,000 a year in California right now, that's when Social Security says, hey, do you still need the Medi-Cal? And then you can say, I would like you to apply my individual rate. And your individual rate is the actual dollar amount that Medi-Cal has spent on your care in the last year. And for most people with developmental disabilities, you get waiver services, you get IHSS, or you get SLS services. Many, if not most, regional center services are at least partially funded through Medicaid HCBS waivers, including job coaching that you probably need in order to work and earn this huge salary. So you would have to earn so much money before there's any possibility of your Medi-Cal getting taken away, that I really, 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 really don't want you to worry about it. If you're on SSI, go work, be happy, but find somebody like me to help you figure it out, right? You still probably need a little bit of assistance. That's what Ticket to Work is for. But don't think that losing SSI is going to happen. The second kind is Title II benefits. Those are based on a work record of some sort, right? I think I mentioned at the beginning of the training, someone asked a question, child disability benefit, meaning a benefit that's based on a parent who either died or retired. Survivor's benefit, meaning you have a disability and your spouse died and you're getting their benefit. Or SSDI, Social Security Disability Income, meaning you yourself have worked enough to pay into the system, and now you get some money as your disability money. Totally different program. They don't talk. SSI and SSDI, they don't talk to each other. They're not friends. Totally different rules. So SSDI, or a Title II benefit, up or down, either you work enough to lose your benefit and you lose all of it. You just lose all of it and it's gone. Or you work even as little as 1 cent below the threshold and you get to keep all of it, 100%. And it's all. So with Title II, it can get a little bit more complicated about whether or not it's profitable for you to work more. Oftentimes it's more profitable to work full time, but sometimes it might not be more profitable to work like 25 hours instead of 20. So that's something that you really want to talk to a benefits counselor about, somebody maybe with Ticket to Work. And then the last kind of situation with benefits that I really want to talk about is people who get both kind of benefits. So sometimes you can get, $500 in a Title II benefit, and so then you still get some SSI. That means that you automatically have unearned income being deducted from your SSI. Any of that money, anything that's being deducted from your SSI, that's money Social Security is keeping out of your SSI check. But if you had a PASS plan, which stands for Plan to Achieve Self-Support, if you had a PASS plan, then you would be able to save that money for a purpose that helps you get back to work. And so with that, I'm going to see if Michael Puglisi is still on the line. I know we're a little later than I told you you'd speak. I'm sorry, sir. But he had a PASS plan. I saw you in the chat. I saw you in the meeting earlier. Are you still here?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Hello, Michael. Can you talk to us a little bit about your PASS plan and kind of how that worked?
I got a PASS plan and it helped me raise money to buy a tricycle from Laid Back Cycles in order for me to get to and from my work, independent of having a ride from either my mother, my father, or siblings or from help from PEC.
Okay.
It helped me to establish a more independent system for myself and working, and also aids me in general health. I think I have lost probably near to 20 to 45 pounds since getting the bike, just from riding my bike to and from the place and back to home. And yeah.
Cool. So, how did the process go when you got your SSI or when you got your PASS plan? Like, what'd you do?
I made another bank account specifically for the money from the PASS plan.
Mhm.
And it, I believe, worked from to secure money from my SSI to put to get the bike.
And do you have another thing that you're hoping to do now? Like moving forward, do you have another goal for another PASS plan?
Yeah, it's nowhere near viable to be expecting it to be done by this year, unless like something big changes, like all this shutdown ends. But I'll hopefully be going to, I believe it's Tyrant, Florida, in order to work at Wicked Sharp sharpening, so I can develop my own sharpening skills to help support myself even further, by means of the training and equipment needed to do that, which would be beneficial for my job at Lucky Penny's Dog Grooming, where I would be able to not only create income away from that shop, but also to help keep the shop's tools sharp and tidy and clean, which also can bring in business from hair salons, other grooming salons in the area, as there are very few in the area that have the qualifications that come from Wicked Sharp Shearing.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Michael. Is there anything else you want us all to know?
On the PASS plan thing?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. You
Not
could,
right now, not currently.
if you have something to say, you could also say something extra. But
Well, I suggest people at least look into it as a means for gaining more independence for themselves while working. Even if it's just the little things from maybe some sort of equipment to help them get around better. It could help immensely with health and also to get it more independent, as I said earlier.
yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Michael.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so that was Michael's experience with the PASS plan. PASS plans, they're free money. Anybody who has any kind of deduction from SSI can qualify for one. The only thing that matters is that it be an expense that could help you get back to work. So strongly recommend that anyone who is who receives SSI look into a PASS plan and talk to a benefits counselor about it. And so I know I really glazed through that, but we'll be talking a little bit more on Social Security in the next section, which is talking about Ticket to Work, which has to do with how you can get a benefits counselor and how you can get somebody to help you with all this stuff. So it's possible to, exactly, next poll.
All right. So our next poll, and before I read that, I just want to ask Pam, there's a lot of chatter in the chat about acronyms, and some of us are spending time trying to spell out your acronyms. So if you could try to not use the acronyms as much as possible. I know they start rolling off the tongue when you use them a lot. That would be great. But several folks are helping out with answering people's questions about what did she say. So this question is, rate your knowledge of the Ticket to Work program. The first option is I could teach a class on it. Next option, I think I could figure out what I need to know. The next option is I've heard the term, but that's about it. And the last option is I am lost. Please explain it to me, Pam. We'll give it just a minute more. You guys are so fast. I've never seen so many people answer the question so quickly. So congratulations, everybody, for being quick on your mice or your click buttons. Okay, we've slowed down at 63 answers. I'm going to end the polling and go ahead and launch it.
Thank you so much. Okay, so it looks like 56% of you guys have heard the term, but that's about it. Only 3 people said they could teach a class on it. So fantastic, you're in the right spot. Ticket to Work. This is how you get benefits counselors. I will say just briefly, I was scoping out the chat a little bit during the poll, and I saw one person asked if you have to choose between a PASS plan and the paid internship fund. Nope, not related. So want to make sure that we're being real clear. There are regional center services that have nothing at all to do with Social Security benefits and work incentives having to do with Social Security. Separate things, totally separate things. Oftentimes you need regional center services in order to work to the point where Social Security work incentives are helpful to you, but they're totally different things. You don't have to pick. And you can get Ticket to Work services and also regional center services. They don't overlap. It's super cool, right? So Ticket to Work, quick definition, it is a program that is funded by the Social Security Administration. And so essentially, every beneficiary, every person who receives any kind of Social Security benefit has a ticket that they can assign. And they assign them to employment networks. So organizations that have either entered into a contract with the Social Security Administration to provide these types of services. And the primary role of an employment network is that they help with benefits counseling. They help you figure out your benefits. There are some other services, everybody's different, but the main thing is that they help you with benefits counseling. Because it is a general service that anybody who has a disability and receives a benefit can go to. Sometimes I've heard that people with developmental disabilities have had a little bit of a harder time navigating the employment networks in their area. So Progressive Employment Concepts is an employment network. You can always go on to choosework.ssa.gov and find an employment network that's in your area. You can also talk to Progressive Employment Concepts. We can provide services statewide. The main thing is benefits counseling. There are some other little things, but I would like to bring in Nathan to talk a little bit about his experience having assigned his Ticket to Work to, and he's assigned it to a couple different places, and what he's got going on with work and benefits.
Hello.
Hi, Nathan. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
Nathan, are you okay if I spotlight you so we can see you a little bit bigger?
No problem.
Okay, I'm gonna, there we go. Thanks for joining us, Nathan. Go ahead.
Yes, so I've been having a little bit of difficulty with the Ticket to Work program. The thing is, I was with the Department of Rehab in the past, and I would get tons of letters from the Social Security Administration, and I thought that my ticket to work was automatically with them, but one day when I was doing my review with Social Security, they told me that my ticket was not activated, and that I could assign it someplace, because I was told by someone else that if I assigned my ticket, then then it would put a halt on my medical reviews with the Social Security Administration. And so I really didn't know anything about the process, and I signed up my ticket with with an organization, but later, after I signed it with the organization, I was informed by Pam that that I had the option to unassign it and reassign it to another organization. I didn't really know any of that, because I didn't really know that much about the Ticket to Work program at all, and it was only later that Pam told me about what the Ticket to Work program was and how I could utilize it.
So, in Nathan, when you assigned your ticket to the first organization, you did not realize that there was timely progress requirements, right? And that there was a
Absolutely
time
not.
clock ticking.
Yeah, absolutely not. So, what I didn't know about Ticket to Work is that there are progress reports, and if your progress is determined not to be improving, then your medical reviews could start again. And as I mentioned before, no one told me that, and I didn't really know all that until Pam explained it to me.
So, how do you think it's been helpful to you now to have a benefits counselor kind of in your corner?
I think it's been extremely helpful, because now I know a little bit more about the rules of Social Security and the rules of Ticket to Work. And I feel that like there were a lot of things that I really didn't know, but now I feel like, now that I know some things, I feel a little bit at ease in the back of my mind.
That's awesome. Do you feel like you would feel comfortable working if you didn't have some help figuring out benefits, or do you feel like it's helpful?
I do feel that it's helpful to have a little bit of assistance with that, so that way I can know exactly like what I will be getting into when I decide to make a decision.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for sharing. Do you have anything else that you want to share?
Um, I just wanted to say to you, Pam, that you have been a major help since I was with PC, and for you explaining a lot of things that I didn't really know and that I was sort of like confused on, and you really made things a little bit more clearer, and that really helped me.
Thank you so much, Nathan. I appreciate you saying that.
Mhm.
Okay. If you're staying on the call, please feel free to jump in if I say something that makes you think about something that pertains to you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So if we so we're talking again about Ticket to Work. I appreciate Nathan for swooping in and telling us a little bit about how important it's been to him to have some accurate and credible information. So Ticket to Work, as I said, it's funded through Social Security. You have to be an agency that has an agreement with Social Security in order to provide the services. And anyone can assign their ticket. At its base, benefits counseling is the thing it's done. It does, right? Some places will say that they help you find a job. And what that means varies widely, and it depends on the agency. Some agencies assign lots and lots of tickets and then do things like email blast out their job postings. Maybe they'll host job groups, stuff like that. There's a lot of variation. So when you're looking for an employment network, you really want to check it out, right? They're not all the same. They don't all specialize in the same thing. They don't all do the same services. But the one thing that all of them are 100% required to provide is benefit support. That's the main thing. And then some type of employment assistance, things like, are you helping you figure out what a job accommodation is and what kinds of things you might need. I know one person submitted a question before the webinar asking about whether job accommodations exist for things like seizures, such as different lighting or, an accommodated work schedule. 100%. Yes, absolutely. Those things exist. And hopefully somebody who is providing Ticket to Work services is going to help know some of the structure about how that stuff works, right? What is the definition of a reasonable accommodation and what an employer is required to provide? What types of benefits do you get? And give you, what I always say is, if you have a good Ticket to Work counselor, they're looking at every single scary letter you get from Social Security. They're looking at it with you. They're processing that. They're helping you figure out the timeline. This is what your benefit is going to be next month. This is what it's going to be when you increase your hours to 16. This is what it's going to be when you increase your hours to 20. Here's what your health insurance is going to be. Here's what your public housing is going to look like, if you are in, have the Section 8 housing voucher or, live in project-based housing or something like that. If you have any kind of housing subsidy, this is also a person who should be pretty familiar with things like ABLE accounts and special needs trusts and how to help you navigate and build your financial well-being. These are the things that Ticket to Work services should really be adept with, right? And they're a little bit different than regional center vendored job coaching services, right? Because you're not necessarily going with Ticket to Work and doing job coaching, but you're taking care of a lot of these other things. One of the main benefits to any beneficiary with Ticket to Work is, as Nathan said, your medical continuing disability review is paused as long as you are meeting timely progress, right? So sometimes you'll get these big, scary packets from Social Security, and they will have, it'll be as though you're applying again, right? It'll want to talk to your doctors. It'll want to talk about your functional limitations. It'll ask about how many steps can you walk a day? Things like that, right? They can be scary and they can be stressful. And Social Security, when you assign your ticket and you are meeting timely progress, they agree to just take that off your plate. They're not going to do it. They're not going to put you through it. You're not going to have to handle it. They're just going to take it off the table so that you can focus on getting a job and getting getting your finances in order and kind of figuring it out. You just don't have to worry about it. So that's a huge benefit to Ticket to Work. the requirements, and I think a lot of the reasons why, at least in my experience so far, a lot of people with intellectual disabilities end up kind of ignoring Ticket to Work as a service is because of those timely progress requirements, right? So timely progress is set by Social Security. It's not about you and your goals. It really ends up just being a dollar amount, right? And so in California, at minimum wage, it ends up being about, you should be planning on earning working about 16 hours per week in the first year and about 23 hours per week in the second. That's usually what I tell people. It can get a little more complicated than that, but basically you have an annual review every year, and you have to have earned at what's called trial work level, which is just a dollar amount of money that Social Security sets, and it's a monthly amount of money. And in 2021, I believe it just went up to $940 per month. So at the end of your first year, you have to have earned a certain number of months at least trial work level in order to keep your timely progress. And if you have, great. The medical review is paused for another year. If you haven't, then it goes away, or then your pause goes away, and those medical reviews start again. In your second year, they want you to work a certain number of months at what's called substantial gainful activity, SGA. Substantial gainful activity, again, is a dollar amount. It's $1,310 per year, or per month rather. In 2021, it goes up every year. And either you're earning it or you're not. And then moving forward, they want you to start earning that at that level more and more up until every month, right? Your medical review will stay paused as long as you are earning at least $1,310 or whatever SGA is for that year. So a lot of people who have intellectual disabilities, they end up not working that much, which is why customized employment services is so important, right? Because we can work that much. Nathan is working that much. Michael is working that much currently. And so, but that's the qualifier. So anyone who is getting services from an employment network, that employment network is going to be looking at whether or not you are earning that amount of money. And if you don't earn that amount of money, then they'll kind of stop serving you because you're not meeting your timely progress. They're not universal in their communication of this, though. So it's really important to talk to people and make some determinations about whether or not the employment network near you has experience with people with intellectual disabilities, whether or not you feel comfortable with them, whether or not they have a single benefits counselor that's going to be able to work with you, or if they just have a team and whoever gets to it. You know what I mean? So being armed with some of those questions when you go in can be important. Now, of course, you can also come to Progressive Employment Concepts. If you're interested in learning more about us, we can provide services statewide. It would be via video, of course, with COVID, but even beyond that. And you would email us at ttw@progressiveemployment.org if you're interested in talking to us versus trying to find someone local in your area. But that is the very big bird's eye view of Ticket to Work. I really wanted to leave a substantial amount of time at the end because I know there were so many questions. And so I would love to begin answering some of those questions now.
Great, Pam. Thank you so much. That was a tremendous amount of information, and there's a lot being shared in the chat, which is just wonderful. A whole nother conversation going on there, and hopefully most questions are being answered, but there's a couple toward the end. Mary Ellen, do any stand out that have not been answered that Pam could answer, and then after that, people could just, raise their hand or choose to unmute and ask. I think she's busy adding more information to the chat. I'm going to ask one that was just asked toward the end here. So it seems that you should go through customized training before joining the Ticket to Work program, right? Does that make sense?
No, not necessarily. So you want to have some employment support set up before joining the Ticket to Work program. But so let's say, for example, you live, I don't know, in the Inland Empire, and you have found your customized employment agency and they're great and you're getting going, and you're pretty sure that you're going to be able to start earning about $1,000 a month within about a year, but you're worried now about how that's going to affect your benefits, then assign your ticket now. So long as it's, that earning at that trial work level, timely progress, that progress review comes in a year. So get the help when you need it. And hopefully you'll hit your earnings milestones and you'll keep your timely progress. If you do not hit your earnings milestones and you don't meet your timely progress, there's no penalty. It's no big deal. You got some information early on. It helped you make some decisions, and you need a little longer. You unassign your ticket, reassign it later. But no, you don't have to finish your customized employment process before assigning your ticket, not at all. In fact, I would strongly recommend that you seek out some benefits help if you are thinking that you're going to work enough to qualify for it early on before you start working.
Thank you, Pam. I think this might be along similar lines. When a person graduates from high school, if they plan to do some post-secondary education, should they do so prior to participating in customized employment services? I guess that would depend if the person wants to pursue further education and then pursue working.
Super depends. Super depends on who you are and what your goals are. In general, and I'd say big, broad generalities. In general, I would say that customized employment can be kind of a demanding process. And so in order for you to get good results, it works best if you're kind of all in. That's the thing you're doing. And school, same deal. School is oftentimes kind of an all-in process. And really demands kind of a lot of your attention. And so if school's really important to you, you want to get a degree, by all means do it. It might behoove you to throw all your weight behind school and go for it, and then all your weight behind customized employment and go for it when you have your degree. However, I don't know you as an individual, and so I can't say definitively, but that is maybe part of the questions that I would be asking.
Thank you, Pam. We have a question, and I think it's a pretty common experience. Flor says, I have a lot of clients who struggle after going back to work because they notified the SSA office, but then months later they got a letter saying they got overpayments, and someone else says that happened to them.
Yeah, definitely.
It's discouraging.
It is discouraging and it's frustrating. So I have a few things to say about this. Number one, it's not your fault. It happens to everybody. Social Security is famous for clerical errors. And also it's unavoidable. It's going to happen. Even if you never go to work, Social Security at some point is going to pay you the wrong amount. I promise. It might take them 7 years to figure it out, but I promise someday Social Security is going to accidentally pay you the wrong amount. That's thing one. Thing two, your congressional representative in the House of Representatives, that is your liaison to the Social Security Administration. I say this because there's no such thing as a public benefit that doesn't have a political side. The Social Security Administration has, they haven't updated their computer system in decades, right? This is part of the issue with why there's so many clerical errors, right? So I really strongly encourage people to engage with their political representatives, write letters and emails about needing to fix these types of just basic situations, right? You should not be operating on a computer from the 90s in 2021 if you're trying to serve millions of people. Next thing, and this is maybe the most practical day-to-day thing for you, is use your accountable income sheet. There, I can actually send Sonia a template for the accountable income sheet, and she can send it to everybody who registered. That's maybe something I should have included as an attachment, but it's super helpful. It gives you a line by line of, here's my unearned income from my Title II benefit, here's my, deduction from this, here's my earnings from work, and, my general income deduction and my impairment related work expense and all of the deductions. It gives you a line by line and prompts you, now add here, divide here, etc., right? So that at the end, you know exactly what your adjusted SSI payment is supposed to be. So if you do that every single month, then you know what Social Security is supposed to pay. The second thing you need to know to make this work is about the 2-month delay. So if I earn money this month in February, I'm going to report it in March. April is when they're supposed to make the adjusted payment, right? So when I do my accountable income form for my February money, it should take place in April when they actually pay it. And then when my April check comes, I can just look at my sheet and I can say, was it correct or not? And if it was correct, great, boom, done. But if it's not, then you can say, oh, darn, they overpaid me by $172. I'm going to now put that in a separate savings account and let it accrue interest until they notice. And then whenever it is that they notice, so long as you don't go over the 2,000, but whenever it is that they notice, you got to keep some interest from your savings account and you pay it back, and it's no big deal. You never saw it. But that's how you cope with that.
And there was also a question if you only have one chance to do Ticket to Work.
No. So the clock is running. No. I mean, the short answer is no. The clock starts running as soon as you assign your ticket, which is why it's kind of important for you to unassign it if it looks like you're not going to meet timely progress. So you can unassign and reassign as many times as you want. But if you, for example, were to run out all of your timely progress, so let's say, a whole 5 years, and you either met all your milestones or you left your ticket assigned, but you didn't meet any of your milestones, then that could trip you up a little bit later. Then you kind of have to have it unassigned for a period of time and reassign it. So I would say stay on top of whether you're meeting timely progress and unassign if it looks like you're not going to be, so that you kind of pause that clock. But no, you can reassign it as many times as you want. And if you have to stop working and you're out of the program for long enough, then it restarts the clock.
Pam, I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll now. And I definitely see that there's a need to do another training where we just talk about CalAble, which we've done before, but always need to do again, of course. It's all confusing. And then to really have some really simple examples of how CalAble can complement and support, when you're working and you have those wages, because I think if we had some good graphics and some good visuals, that might help people, because I know it can be confusing how one uses the CalAble. It's not to hide the money, but to avoid hitting that $2,000 resource limit. So we'll definitely work on organizing a training where we just talk about that. I'm launching a poll right now, and then we'll have a few more minutes for questions as well. The first question, this is a 3-part questions, and you have to kind of scroll down to see all 3. They're just yes, no. The first is, did you learn something about employment supports and Ticket to Work? Yes or no. The second question is, are you satisfied with this training? And the options are yes and no. And the third question is, will you be able to better advocate for employment supports and services, either for yourself or for somebody else, because you've learned a little bit more about some of these supports?
And we have some members who are not seeing the polls for some reason, Sonia.
I know Gina is the same one who said before she
Right.
didn't see it. I'm not sure what kind of screen she's on. We have 60 people who are seeing it, so I'm not sure why Gina's not seeing it. But Gina, we can check back with you about your answers to, you can also put the answers in the chat as well. And we already have 64. We'll wait just a couple seconds. Great. We have a couple people who are saying that they're not better able to advocate for themselves, and totally understand. It is all, there's so much involved. So we will, again, have the recording. Might be good to review the handout, the document, the handout that Pam created and we had translated into Spanish. Review that, maybe that will make some of it make a little bit more sense. And then you're always welcome to review the recording that we'll be sharing out. And then of course we can, continue to do more trainings, and please always reach out to any of us to say what kinds of trainings you think would be helpful, what the issues or concerns are with yourself or your family member or people that you work with, because we want to keep providing helpful information. We're going to end the polling and share the results. Thank you. And I'm going to stop sharing. When you anticipate we will be getting the recording. Natalie, it should be by tomorrow. It takes about an hour to upload, and just like all of you, I gotta go eat dinner and go to bed tonight, but I'll get it uploaded tomorrow. I'll share it out with everybody who's registered, and then you're welcome to share that out anywhere. And it'll be also linked on our website, so you can always, if you forget the link, you can always go to scdd.ca.gov and Sacramento page, and we have a listing of trainings there that are recorded. When CalAbles are great and it's easy to sign up. Okay, I just want to open it up. If anyone has a question, they just want to unmute. We have 12 minutes left, and you're welcome to just unmute and ask a question.
Sorry, I mean to ask.
Go ahead, Robert.
Leo, you said that one of the presenters works for Lucky Penny, and he said he got a bike.
Yes, huh?
Is it a bicycle or?
Are you asking because you know that it's a tricycle?
It said something tricycle, or is it a regular bicycle?
It's a tricycle.
Oh, okay. Well, I just
Three wheels.
wondering, how is he gonna get? I mean, it's kind of interesting that he said he wants to go to work independently, and
yeah,
well,
I think a lot of people want to go to work independently.
and then he said something about learning more independence. Like something about with the sharpening, with the
shear sharpening. Yeah, fancy cool shear sharpening school in Florida. That is his goal for his next plan.
But if his next plan, that means he would have to leave us if
the training is in Florida, but then he would come back.
I get it. Okay, he would be gone for a while, but he comes back, but he would just live in dorms or something.
Yep.
Okay, I didn't know if he was leaving the person's leaving agency or not.
Nope. Did you have a question about the training, Robert?
No, I just interested that he said he was going to go to Florida for that. His goal, he wants to go to the training in Florida. I thought, is he moving there, or is he going to come back after it's over? If he gets that goal.
Thanks, Robert.
Any other questions, please feel free to unmute yourself.
I have a question in regard to SSDI. Do you have to have a ticket to work if you are earning under the threshold of what they allow?
What do you mean?
Well, like, I think you're allowed to work and receive benefits if you earn less than a certain dollar amount. Is that, am I correct there?
Yes. So with SSDI specifically, it's called SGA. So it's
Okay.
countable income below SGA or substantial gainful activity specifically.
Okay.
With ticket to work, the qualifier is your gross, not your countable. And so you could have a ticket to work assigned, even if you're earning, it depends on kind of your individual situation. If your gross is less than that and you don't want to work more, then ticket to work might not make sense for you. If you are interested in earning more, but finding ways to bring your countable income down below the threshold, ticket to work might make sense for you. So for example, with SSDI, every hour that you have a job coach or support person with you at work, if that's something you utilize, that hour is not a countable wage. They just don't count it. They only count the time that you're independent at work, period.
Okay.
So they just don't count it.
What is the threshold amount? Do you know that amount?
SGA in 2021 is $1,310.
So you would have to earn less than that and to maintain your benefits.
You would have to have countable income less than that to maintain your benefits. I keep calling it countable because
Right. I'm curious. There's like, sounds like there's elements that make it countable. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there's a lot of things that you can do to reduce what's counted.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So let's say, for example, you earn $2,000 a month, okay?
Right.
And but you have a job coach or some other type of support with you at work about half the time that you're there. Then only half of your income is counted. So even though you're earning $2,000 and you get to take home $2,000 and that $2,000 hits your pocket and you feel it, Social Security says, oh, you made $1,000. Good for you. Keep your benefit. And that's the way it is. So those are some of the ways that ticket to work and having a benefits counselor can be helpful, is, that we can help clue you in to, you can work more. Let's see what deductions you have.
Okay, well, I've got your email, so I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you because I'm excited to learn all this.
Oh, good.
I used to work for the state years ago, and I had to medically retire because my disease progressed. So I've just recently, with Zoom, fortunately, the benefits of a pandemic, I guess, for the disabled, for me, is not terrible. So that's kind of opened up some opportunity for me. So that's a little exciting in my late life. So I'm wanting to pursue a little bit, but I don't know all of these different ins and outs, and I don't want to, lose, obviously, as everybody says, their benefits. I'm on Medi-Cal and all that too. So all these different elements, working disabled program, and how do they all work together? And oh my gosh,
you won't lose. Working disabled, you'll keep it. Don't worry about that.
Okay,
There's many eligibility categories for Medi-Cal. Don't worry about Medi-Cal. If you take away from this training.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. I really thank you for your presentation today.
You're quite welcome. I'm so glad you came.
You too.
Pam, I have a question. I have someone that I work with who has an overpayment from Social Security, but he has a job coach, but I guess they never knew that he had a job coach. So how would we go about fighting that?
So first question, is his overpayment for a Title II benefit or SSI?
SSDI.
SSDI?
So Title
and he has an overpayment. I mean, it depends. His job coach might not matter for his overpayment. It depends on why he was overpaid. Because
SGA.
It was then you need to call the work incentives liaison. I don't know where you're located, but every branch office has a work incentives liaison. And you need to, so back up. They should have sent you a letter explaining all of this and informing you of how to appeal.
They did in December, 2 years after the fact.
Yeah, that'll happen. Call the work incentives liaison. So call the branch office. Don't call the national 800 number. Call your branch office, whatever that is. Enter the zip code for the address that Social Security has on record for him. That'll be the branch office. Ask to speak to the work incentives liaison. And talk to them about how to proceed. Let them know that you think that they made an error. You're not really sure how to proceed, but you want to inform them of a Title II special condition of a job coach.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're quite welcome. I see Sonia put work incentives liaison in the chat, and I just want to congratulate her on knowing how to spell that, because I've never remember it. I typically put work incentives liaison. This is why I like acronyms a lot.
Right, acronyms are great. And just a reminder that we will put, there's just been so much great information, and the chat does get saved on the back end. So we will put together a document that we can maybe add on to your document, Pam, and it can include the acronyms that were talked about tonight, as well as maybe some links to some of the other programs that were mentioned tonight, websites and basic information. So we'll work on beefing up Pam's handout. We'll get it translated, get it updated into Spanish as well. So let's see, we still have a couple minutes if anyone has any more questions.
I do. Can you
go
hear
ahead,
me?
Michelle? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering, do you have any resources for people who receive SSI and are transitioning from school to work, but who are interested in self-employment?
Yeah, whereabouts do you live?
Regional Center of the East Bay.
Okay, so I know I'm not immediately familiar of any individual programs down there, but that specialize in self-employment, but I would talk to your service coordinator at the regional center and let them know that you're specifically interested in customized employment micro enterprise. Micro enterprise is the phrasing for self-employment within that world.
Okay.
And hopefully they can link you to a vendor organization that does that. And then follow-up is, remember how we discussed that paid internship program can be applied to self-employment. And so it's still typically used as like an hourly wage, but you contract with a financial management service and they pay you to learn how to do your business.
That's awesome. Okay. I didn't realize that point. I missed that, I guess, when you were talking about that before. But no, that is wow. Okay.
That can be one use of that fund. And so I strongly recommend it. We all know how difficult it can be to launch a business. So use that resource, please.
Yeah, that's great. And my 22-year-old has had 2 PIP experiences in the past. So we're familiar with like the process of how to, work with a financial management company and all of that. But for her to now be able to take that experience and knowledge and apply it to her goal of self-employment would be really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're quite welcome.
Yeah, and some people are finding that the pandemic's actually creating some better possibilities with self-employment as opposed to some of the traditional jobs. I encourage you to check our page, the celebrations of employment stories that we did at the end of October. We had quite a few individuals that were supported by 3 different supported employment agencies in Sacramento, who all shared their stories about work that they're doing, how their jobs changed during the pandemic, and individuals who got new jobs during the pandemic. So I encourage you to watch that. That training was toward the end of October, but it's listed on our page. So I want to respect your evening, Pam. I appreciate the time you've taken. I want to thank Mary Ellen Stives and Lisa Hooks, my colleagues who helped out with this. I want to thank Cindy Lay from Alta Regional Center for all of her incredible answers in the chat and also speaking with us. There is an employment specialist at every regional center. So, you know, reach out to your service coordinator and ask some of these questions locally so you can connect with local services. Special thanks as well to Nathan and Michael for sharing their stories. It's not easy to be on camera and share your experiences. So I appreciate both of them doing that. Thank you. And good luck with what you have going, Nathan. Good luck with your ongoing job, Michael, and your goals to continue to improve your skills as well. And big thanks to Chris. I'm not sure if he's on the call anymore, for sharing the employer's perspective. That was just so valuable. You know, having the right employer is amazing. And sometimes the work that the employment specialists and job developers are doing out there to make those connections with business owners, people who can hire somebody. They're not in the job to hire people, they're in the job to run a business. And when that magical connection can be made and supports can be provided, that can make all the difference. Sounds like that's what happened in Chris's case. So it's great, Pam, that you were able to get him to share his experience and just hear it from his perspective. Not a huge business, you know, just him and a couple employees, and how he was able to work that in. Sometimes small employers are easy, can be excellent employers. So we want to remember that as well. So again, thank you all. We'll be in touch. It might take us a couple days to put this document together, but we'll definitely get the recording out to you. We'll add you onto the state council's email list. And I encourage you to reach out to your local state council office, 12 of them around the state, to ask to be on their local email list so you can learn about other trainings going on locally. We're all doing similar trainings throughout the state. Some of them we make statewide like this, others might be more local. So definitely reach out to your local state council office to add to their email list. Again, thank you, Pam, and everyone have a great evening.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Pam. Thanks everybody for coming.
Good job, y'all.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Heidi. Thanks for coming. Glad you were able to find us.
Thank you.
Hi, Tammy. Bye, Barbara.
I'll be on many more.
Oh,
that
great,
you guys
Heidi.
had.
so much.
Always good to see you.
It's good to see
Bye,
you
Betty.
too.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone. I'm going to
Bye.
go ahead and close it.
Will the
Bye,
link
Sonia.
also have
Great
Spanish
training.
translation?
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Yes, will the link also have Spanish translation, or is that a different link?
It will be a separate recording because we had to record the Spanish separately. So there'll be 2 different recordings.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
Wanna
thank
come
you
out, Sonia?
for translating, Frida. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Bye, Frida. Thank you so much.